Echo Lima 87. This is 100 watts and a wire.
Well, the mighty Earl Bailey, one of my mentors and dear friends, has changed my grid square on the opening of the 100 watts and a wire podcast. Hello, it's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. And this is ham radio amplified through the medium of a podcast. It's good to be with you. Apologies for missing Sunday's live. A lot was going on. And I can take you back to Saturday where my children and wife, I told you we're in Florida, right? A home of Mickey Mouse and friends. Mr. Disney, who I believe was from Missouri. I am coming to Florida by way of Missouri. However, I came to Missouri by way of Philadelphia, and that wasn't where I was from. I'm from Baltimore. But anyway, Mickey Mouse, very tempting. My oldest daughter is in a program, and it's an intensive program, so several weeks of intensive study. Well, they got a break on Saturday. And the team went to, the students went to Disney. My little one went, and my wife went as well. So they were gone from 6:15 in the morning until about 1:15 a.m. on Sunday morning. So this left your boy here. I know what you're thinking, you old mama. You were pulling the ding and doing the Jimmy Jam all day, probably sore. That's why you... No, man, I wasn't doing that. All day. Part of the time, I guess. I don't know why you get me on these tangents. What I did, I think I worked myself into a tizzy. I had worked myself from when they left until probably 11:30 p.m. and had been feeling it on Sunday. Just kind of all sorts of work, all things to do around here at the place in Sarasota, working on projects, trying to push and find employment here in Sarasota. Florida's been very kind to my wife. For me, I love its beauty. I kind of feel like I'm on vacation. You know that feeling? Oh, I'm on the beach, okay. Oh, that's what we used to say for out-of-work radio personalities. You're on the beach. Anyway, still on that grind, still pushing forward and still trying to make things happen. But I am glad that I am with my family. The option was to continue working in Missouri, try to get some remote work, and then do the move. They canned me first week of June, and here we are. Anywho, so also we have to remember now about these lives. They're kind of like a treat, like on the topping of the cake, right? Or whatever it is you're eating. This time of year, we've seen lots of fires, a lot of dry temperatures, not much rain to speak about until perhaps today. We had a bit of rain last week on a Monday. And this morning we had a thunderstorm, so that was nice. But we haven't had what the locals consider any amounts of rain at all here in Sarasota. And Florida's known, and it's a bigger state than I give it credit for. I thought it's kind of, no, it's big enough. It's just shaped kind of like I'll just go with the panhandle. Let's go with that. It looks like a panhandle or a penis. But that isn't to say I don't like it here at all. I don't. That's at a beach, man. It's beautiful here. It is gorgeous. Just describing the shape as you would look at it on a map. Anyhow, what was I even talking about? Good God. Here we go. It's the age, isn't it? Anyway, look, we are settling in fine. I've been worked myself to a tizzy. Oh, we were talking about weather and being dry because Steve is a firefighter, right, in the Pacific Northwest, and he's called out to these fire calls. all the time. And so summertime gets pretty iffy anyway. The week before, Scotty, who hangs with us, sort of managing the live stream phone bank and letting people know where we are on the socials, and an important part of the live show. And he's contributing and he's building and he's doing things and does some editing to video and that sort of thing. He's one of those good dudes in our community. Well, he was mixing a band, and these guys got to work. And more than any time in my life, I realized that you've got to make that money. You make that money. You stay paid as best you can, and hey, you got to go do what you got to do. I need to turn a fan on above me. Well, it's getting hot. Getting hot. Cue Nelly. But my situation was I had wrung myself out. I had working on projects, and I'm going to talk about these projects. I've been thinking about 100 Watts in a Wire, our benefits program. Just one level now, kind of like a ham radio or ham radio adjacent coupon book, if you will. NI4L, radio waves, MFJ, and Bioenno Power are jumping on to say, look, if any of your members would like to receive a discount, let me know. And here's how it works. $5 a month, basically $1 an episode, 20 cents an episode if I went daily. And hey, there was a time about, 4 or 5 days ago, I was banging them off every day. I liked it, loved it. Also working on the work, getting paid, applying for gigs, pushing projects, looking for new students so I can coach them to become better podcasters with Radio Core. That I just burnt myself out. And I was on the couch for a better part of Sunday, so there you go. Between that and the fires out west and Steve in and out, I said, you know what, give me a day or so, and we'll get to it. Back to the memberships, $5 a month. Go to buymeacoffee.com or 100wattsinawire.com. It's sort of the portal. It'll take you there. You can get discounts from participating companies like the ones I've mentioned. Hopefully we'll grow that for you. I believe your membership to 100 Watts in a Wire will pay for itself through those discounts. And look, you get a discount, a little bit more money in your pocket, huh? Put it in the front pocket and make your Jimmy look big. Coffee sip. Had to do it. So there you go. Please consider that. It will keep the wheels on the car as the engine is creating content. I appreciate you. And in fact, let me see. I always want to thank anybody who came and thought enough. I want to thank Wes, Scotty Peterson, W6ABV for becoming new members and getting access to those discounts by participating businesses. I want to let you know a couple of things real quick, kind of an update. As we have been friends for over 400 episodes, this, incidentally, is number 411. An update from Sarasota of your boy. Let's talk about a new podcast that some of you are familiar with. I had tinkered with it before. I launched it before the Rona came along and started it off. Was having a lot of fun with it. Stopped for a bit, started back again, stopped for a bit because of the Rona, and put it back down for a little bit. It just, now, in my life, Hour 73 makes a lot of sense because, and I want to announce to you the launch. Today's Tuesday, July 18th. If you're a podcast listener, go to whoever you go to, iTunes, Spotify, others. Do a search for Hour 73. You will find the initial episode posted there. I could use all of my amateur radio friends to join me there. I know we don't completely tune into preparedness. There are several different layers to emergency communications, your involvement, your interest in that. I want to take preparedness and the study of preparedness and self-reliance in a way that's more practical for everyday people. I'm not the arbiter of this. I do live in a hurricane zone right now. And to me, nothing says, let's get going right now because you're living it. And as a documentarian, I've been a part of at least 8 or 9 documentaries. I've won a couple of Emmy Awards for my work in that front. I want to document where I'm going, living in a backdrop of a hurricane zone. Episode 1, I talk about feeling woefully unprepared. Between the lack of work, the completely different landscape and culture here, the fact that in Missouri that you are dealing with, some possible risks. You're close to the airport. There's a pipeline to the airport. There's a river system, a highway system. There's a fault under the earth that may shift, could cause this. Tornadoes. Could, right? So you kind of have the option to, get involved and start to prepare yourself for the first 72. I want to look beyond that. And that's what Hour 73 is about. And being here among a backdrop of hurricanes puts me directly in a position to report to you through Hour 73 what's going on, what I'm learning, what I'm studying, what I've acquired, what skills am I expanding my capability. Let's talk to experts. Let's hear from survivors. Let's hear your story. Let's hear how Grandma cured her cough and yours. Share these things and this information, practical solutions and ideas. Hour 73, I need you all hearing my voice, who enjoy this content and who may be interested in the synergies of emergency communications. I'm going to be the first to tell you, when I get into this topic, I was a bit skeptical about amateur radio's role in disasters. We're certainly not the front line. I was part of the ARES team in St. Louis for about 14 months, all during COVID. Mostly, I didn't join because of that. I joined because I was interested. I wanted to take CERT programs. The CERT program got started 2 weeks into it. Rona hit in, March, but in February, they started getting numbers coming in. January, they started seeing cases here in the States. Canceled. So moving to Florida has presented a brand new opportunity for me. It makes sense for me to document this journey. On the radio side, we'll talk about it. On the radio and preparedness, self-reliance front, we'll talk about it over at Hour 73. We do have the podcast posted. Please go subscribe. It will help your boy perhaps make a living from doing what I do, which is make content and documentaries. You can also help by buying me a coffee here and there. Support this effort. Nobody's getting rich. You do have to pay some money for the peripheral support through subscriptions and that stuff. I'm not trying to lean on you hard, give you a guilt trip. I'm pushing to make my own way. But if you find value, by all means, and some of you do, over 100 members now, and I appreciate that for 100 Watts in a Wire. I will build a similar program level with the preparedness in that community as I go. It's just one person, 2 podcasts, and the need to try to push them out there to help people learn. Waka, waka. Want to let you know that this program is indeed sponsored. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. We need that. And if you're looking for a power solution, check out BioNO Power, offering the best lithium phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bionopower.com. That's BIOENNO power.com. If any of this resonates with you, go to 100wattsinawire.com, get yourself a 100-watt ID. And of course, you can visit Buy Me a Coffee from that place. You can listen to the podcast there if you want and get yourself engaged. Not to a human, just start engaging. I want to share with you that I did join the SRQ ARES team here in Sarasota. Very happy that they are active. They are really active compared, to what I had seen in the Midwest in my past experience. All good people in both places. I haven't met all of the members of the team here. But I tell you what, guys, one of the main selling points. Now, I'd been listening to their repeaters. They're on Monday nights, Central Florida, checking in. I listened. Didn't check in last night. I'm listening to the patterns and how they do things in their format. They'll have a local net this week. I think it's tomorrow, and there's something else on Thursday, like a club net. And I thought, this makes sense. I'm here. But priority number one is taking care of my family. This I did not talk about yet on hour 73, is that one of the benefits for me joining the SRQ ARES team, and if you're new to ham radio, ARES stands for Amateur Radio Emergency Service. And I found out last week that if I volunteer to deploy at one of the nearby hospitals in a time of emergency, aka hurricanes, my family and my pet can safely shelter at the hospital. The benefit there for me was I can give my skill of being an amateur radio operator to serve the community at that hospital. And because of that, in exchange for that service, my family can come and shelter during a hurricane. My dog can come and shelter at that hospital. And it is the easiest yes I've ever given. The next day I went and signed up. I will deploy when needed to that hospital. That isn't to say if something big is coming and it is best to leave this area and evacuate. We're going to evaluate where we are and we will go as we need to go. However, the opportunity to take my children and my wife and my pet to shelter in exchange for volunteering and deploying is so easy, and I did it. A flyover here. Someone is learning how to fly. Not too far from an airport, and they get around. Let me tell you that. I really wanted to do this to let you know that there is a synergy between amateur radio, emergency preparedness. I don't want to deal with doom and gloom. As I mentioned on the podcast, that I hope you will download and listen and subscribe to. I will also put that up on, I'll put content up on the Hour 73 YouTube page. Please go there as well and subscribe. Consume it however you like. But there are synergies between the two. I know there are differences, and some people aren't doing it. I'm not going doom and gloom, guys. I have more days behind me than I have in front of me. I've got kids to think about, and I'm looking for sharing ideas, sharing solutions, building community. Look at us. Look at 100 Watts in a Wire. It has become a community. People can dip in and out. They come by, they're at the barbecue, but whatever, it's a community. I would appreciate it very much if you could consider coming over, listening to and following a documentary styled approach to sharing exactly similar. It's what I do. I'm the seeker. I'm building my skills. I'm expanding my capabilities, and I'm going to talk to these people, experts and survivors and people like you who do things that make sense and may make us a little more self-reliant. I will tell you more about the ARES team here locally as I discover it. There's so much more to talk about. Consider becoming a benefit to the show. It's a win-win-win. You guys get a discount. The show gets your support. And the business may actually earn your sale, which is a win-win. One also note, I want to thank Steve W7UDI, who helped me change a plug on my amplifier to a 120. I didn't know what to do. Here you go. I didn't know what to do. I had the 240 plug on. I needed to get to the 120. The 120 gives me about 500 watts out, and that's fine. I went through the 13 colonies struggling, and I don't even know who am I going to be able to reach right now. Conditions on Sunday on the net, I couldn't even hear. Don Mitz was out there in Minnesota. I had no idea. Couldn't hear him. He came up a little bit, but QRM next to him. Man-made noise. Somebody on an adjacent frequency. I was like, I can't do it. I got to go. But thank you, Steve, for helping me. He said it's stupid easy. It was 3 wires. Screw them in. Ba-boom. And now I have some wattage out of my amp that I brought an awfully long way, hoping for that day. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you. Okay, guys. Thank you for your support, being a member of the Hamley, listening to me as I tell you the trials and tribulations of just being a man with a family. Many of you have, I wouldn't say many, but some of you have reached out with an understanding of relocating or losing a job and needing to find a job and, that keep your chin up thing. It helps. It helps. At this point, I'm looking for work that's in my line, my field of expertise, which is like producing podcasts, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm certainly not above. I would love to do something remotely because my kids are here, and I don't have that in-law structure set up. So it would be better if I could, I don't care if I'm inputting data from home. Not too excited about making calls to people, but or in sales, that's kind of probably not me. But, I'll do some stuff at home, and to make it work, I'll even go out down the road here and wrestling an alligator. I mean, we're going to have to be right at the end of this is it, dude. You've got to go wrestle that alligator. And if it does come down to that, I don't prefer it. It ranks right up there with sales. But if I got to feed my family and, wrestle an alligator, we're going to eat that alligator. That's all I'm going to tell you about. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other. And by all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise. 7-3.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsindawire.com.